Alright everybody, welcome to episode 3 of Valkyrie Profile. We're back. And so I worked on the graphical issues a little bit off screen. I think I alleviated them maybe a little bit, but this emulator that I'm using, it's the only one that I could get to work properly without pulling my hair out. With Valkyrie Profile specifically, keeping in mind that Valkyrie Profile itself is kind of a buggy game. It's not buggy like by itself. It's just like it's quirky, and I think that's why it was so prone to scratches in disc form. It doesn't experience any of those same issues when emulating it, but like, I don't know. I feel like something about the coding of the game makes it harder to emulate. You know, with more modular emulators, you know, stuff that needs a lot of plugins. That's why I'm using PSX, the P capital S capital X, just to differentiate it. It's the one emulator out there that's very self-contained. There's not really all the plugins kind of, you know. It's very user-friendly, and I'm not trying to become an expert on emulators. I mean, I know technical shit, but, you know. So the animations there were a few times where I got like through some really crazy animations, and sometimes it hangs, but it only hangs for like a couple seconds, and it, you know, I don't know, hopefully you guys can get over it. And then off screen I did this, which is basically, so this is how you, just to give you guys, again, to make this sort of, just to make this more quality content. So basically, the way this game works is you have a party of 4 characters, obviously, and, you know, you level up like you do in any other RPG, blah, blah, blah. Got a skill menu. So in this skill menu here, basically, the combat system in this game is actually really good. It's really good. So you have the skills in this first column are reaction skills. So these are basically conditionals where when you unlock the skill and you activate it and you level it, these skills are, and you can only you can set up 2 of these. You set up 2 reaction skills. And then 1 of each of the other kind. So these will basically, the character will automatically do when the conditions are met. It doesn't waste a turn, it doesn't waste anything. And they can do it, the characters can do these even if they're not like able to take their turn normally. Support skills, these are like, it's hard to say because I don't have an example of them right now. They're basically more, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it'll be much easier to kind of reference once I actually get one. And then attack skills are skills that modify your basic attacks or give you an extra attack to do it in place of something else, etc. And then you set these traits up over here, and as you level them, they become either more potent, you get a greater chance to, you know, activate certain parameters of them, blah, blah, blah. Every time you level up, it's almost like, think like, you know, if you've never played this game before and you're more familiar with newer games, think of this like, these capacity points that everybody has 0 of right now. They're like AP, and you get, you know, several dozen of them to, you know, 100 and some change every time you level up, and you spend those points every time you level up. You get, you know, a big wad of those points. You cap at 99, so you don't want to just hoard them, or not 99, 999. Then you spend them on these abilities, and it is a huge payoff. And I'm going to be doing this in hard mode. To kind of to keep up with the difficulty. But all of these skills, some of them are more passive abilities, and some of them are abilities that really lend themselves towards like if you're going to be sending a character up to Asgard. But like others actually directly modify your stats, like, you know, Trick, March, and Formation all have an effect on intelligence. So, and these skill levels, they max out at 8. 8 is the level cap for all of these skills, all of them. A few of them, like counter, and like certain attack and support skills, they cap out at 1. You just turn them on and that's it. And then, so these basically, you know, you get it up to level 8, and then you've got plus 16 in all those stats, pretty much. And then as you level them, they take more and more capacity points to level, and etc., etc. And then, for human characters, you have traits, and these are the things that you need to level up in order to send characters to Asgard. Arngrim's is very low. Most of them will be low when you first recruit them, but Arngrim's is particularly low, and we'll get into that later. Freya and Valkyrie do not have these, but all the human characters you recruit will have it, and you level these, and basically what it does is the more you level these, if you send a character to Asgard, you'll get better payoff for it. Items, reusable items, equipment, artifacts, we'll get to that later. You can transmute items into different items, and you can convert them into MP. MP are materialized points. They have nothing to do with magic, and you basically, it's basically money. You use them to purchase things from here, and more things become available as you go through the game. Party, you know, you can switch out party members at pretty much any time. The experience orb, certain events in the game will give you experience that goes into this pool, and then you can delegate it out to other characters. So that's also really useful in hard mode. You get into later chapters, you're recruiting characters to level 1. You use this to bring them up to speed. Abilities, so like your weapons will have, you know what? That's kind of the basics. I did all the skill leveling that I could. There wasn't much off screen. I'm going to try and do that off screen as much as possible just to make it not tedious for you guys to watch, but I'll cover the other things as we go through them. Anyway, so the dungeons are, you know, these very side-scrollery kind of Castlevania type things. You know, you can jump, there's a little bit of platforming, and you can also make crystals, and these crystals basically will allow you to do little platforming puzzles. It's hard to explain them really, but it'll be easy to see once I get in a situation where I have to do one. And then when you see enemies on screen, you can avoid them. If they run into you from behind, they almost always get like the first turn. If you run into them from the front, you'll get the first turn, but you won't be able to use any of your Purify Weird Souls, which are basically like limit breaks. Yeah, and yeah, and then if you slash them, you get the first turn, and you have like an empty charge gauge, which God. There's a lot of shit in this game that I'll have to explain as it becomes relevant, but, you know, I'll try not to make it tedious. Yeah, so there's a lot of running and jumping. It's got, you know, there's some platformy kind of puzzles, but mostly it's just crawling through the dungeon, clearing it out of all the enemies, and enemies do not respawn, and once you beat the boss of the dungeon, they all disappear until you come back in. So you guys should see this just because it's Freya and we won't have her for a long time after this. And yeah, this is pretty much the most ridiculous attack in the game. We're at level 1 right now. And this does, yeah. It can do double that if you chain the... I'm just going to call them limit breaks. They're called Purify Weird Souls, or PWS for short. This game has a lot of weird names for everything. Like, your HP isn't HP, it's Divine Materialized Energy. Your money isn't money, it's fucking materialized points. Let's check out the contents of that bag. How about you go, you know, you go fondle that bag. I'm gonna go somewhere else. Yeah. Open treasure chest. Okay, yeah, no, I get it. That's the other thing is, like, that was like a little sack thing, so that doesn't really count, but you find treasure chests everywhere, and the thing of it is about treasure chests is that you can pick them up and move them around. You can also throw them, and you can open them. When you open them, if there's a trap, the trap springs, and then after that you get the treasure. If you pick them up, you can put them back down again. Or you can throw them. And if you throw them, well, I don't know that there's ever an occasion to do that, because anytime you throw a treasure chest, it breaks, and what's inside it breaks. I think. Yeah. These are like the most basic tutorials ever for anything ever. God, I wish tutorials were still like this. Oh, man. Yeah, so slash this guy. To my side, my noble Einherjar.
Uh-oh, we may be in trouble.
Yes. Fuck yeah. So since I unlocked counterattack, that's now an option. If the enemy misses, you can counterattack them. Also, in this first dungeon, if you ever played this game, take Freya's weapon off. Every weapon has a set number of attacks it can do, and every non-mage character has 3 attacks. And different weapons will have different configurations of those attacks, and you can reorder them however you like. But, like, for instance, so let's see here. So, like, this sword, the antler sword, down there at the bottom where it's got the O and then the 2 X's, that means she can do the first attack in the chain, but not the second or the third. If it had 3 O's, she would be able to do a full combo. Every character has a default attack that it defaults to if you take the weapon off. And so Freya's weapon, the Ether Freeze, it uses the middle attack in her combo, but if you take her weapon off, it actually defaults to the first attack in her combo, which is way stronger, even without a weapon. So in this first dungeon, make your life a lot easier just by taking that off. Yeah, all characters have head, body, arm, leg, and they're pretty much uniform across all characters. There's no jobs, but every character has, like, basically whatever weapon they use, that's their job. But I mean, they don't share anything beyond that. Yeah, mages will use, more clothy, kind of stuff, blah blah blah. Sorry if I'm rambling a little bit, but like I love this game so much, and I don't want to do it the injustice of playing it poorly and giving anybody a poor experience. This is going to be a skillful playthrough. Not that I've never done like decent playthroughs of anything before. I think my Zodiac Age playthrough was pretty badass. I'm still really proud of that. Doing that new game minus, oh man. But yeah, this game, I've played through this game many times, and we're going to be doing pretty much, like I said, pretty much perfect playthrough, or as close to it as I can get. I don't know if I'm going to get every item, but I'm certainly going to get everything that I can possibly come across. It's kind of hard to do a perfect game in this one, because every chapter, there's actually every chapter there's a randomized dungeon called the Cave of Oblivion, and sometimes it's just a bunch of cul-de-sacs and like weak ass enemies, and sometimes it's like crazy, and like there'll be enemies that are like, the Cave of Oblivion can have enemies that are way higher or way lower than other enemies at that point in the game. Like, it's random. But it doesn't take into account how far you are in the game or what your level is or anything. So it's kind of like, you know, a little bit of Russian roulette. And, you know, so in that sense, it's a little bit harder to dictate what is a perfect game. But, you know. So what I just did there, right, is, so you see that, like, gauge next to the enemy HP that's at 0 right now, and it's like kind of a crescent, and like, so you'll see it here when we attack. See, it's at 0 now. Now it's at 24. So every character, their moves or their spells or whatever, they fill up that gauge by a certain amount, a set amount for whatever attack they're using or whatever spell they're casting. When that gauge gets to 100, it means you can do limit breaks. PWSs. I almost, you know what? I'm gonna call them passwords. Because I work in IT, and whenever anybody says password, they say PW, and if it's passwords, it's PWs. So, passwords. Anybody walking into that is gonna be anybody walking into starting this playthrough like mid, you know, skipping to like episode whatever and hear me talking about passwords, and be like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then just like comboing your regular attacks, you can combo together PWS's passwords, and when you do that, if the gauge gets back up to 100, then another character can do theirs, and then so on and so forth. And each character's PWS has a certain amount that it fills the gauge up by, and it's almost always the same every time. So like Arngrim's fills it up by 80. So like you don't want to use his like right off the bat. You want to wait, because every time you use one and get further down the chain, the maximum that the PWS will start at will go down by like 20 or something. So like when we first start the PWS chain, it'll start at 80, and they'll have to fill it up to 100 from 80. And then the second person will have to fill it up to 100 from 60, and so on and so forth. So you want to use the ones that charge the gauge more later down in the chain. And then you want to have the person that charges the gauge the least finish the chain, since there won't be any need to fill it back up. And usually those attacks are really powerful. Like PWSs that do like a shit ton of damage usually have shitty combo gauge ability, or you know, filling. You know, they're shitty at filling the combo gauge. So you know, usually you have them go last, and the further down the chain you get, the more damage they do. So anyway, all of this droll kind of like game mechanics, me talking like this is a walkthrough, will stop eventually, but you know, there's a lot to cover.
These beasts will be a good test.
Again, sorry about those things. And yeah, if you wait for a long time before hitting the button, then that gauge will go down. Like you saw, it started at 8. If I had been like mashing the button, it would have started at, you know, 80 or 78. You know, so those little purple jewels will actually, when you knock those out of the enemy, they'll float back over to your characters, and they'll cut their charge gauge by a certain amount. So you see under Jolanda's name where it says CT, and she has that one little red block. That means she can't act for another turn. Particularly with mages, it means they can't act because they can't attack physically. They can only use magic. With physical characters, they'll still be able to attack, but they won't be able to use their PWS until the gauge drops. So those purple gems will nudge the gauge down the more you knock out of them, the enemy. You can also knock crystals out of the enemy, which add like, you know, they add something like a 1 point they add something like a 1.01, I think, like modifier to the experience you get after the fight, or maybe it's a flat amount. I don't know. But if you knock a shit ton of those out of the enemy, which is easy to do if you have attacks that juggle the enemy, that's like a really good way to do that.
Easy work for a god.
Yup. Every character has, like, you know, finishing lines, and you know, they have death lines, they have you know, kill lines, they have dialogue when they take damage, deal damage, blah blah blah. There's like a whole voice collection for the game. That and the music for this game is really cool. I don't know of any other game that has a soundtrack that sounds like this. Like, it just has a very unique style. I really like it. Hell yeah. So every time you do little field event things like that, you get an event experience. Yes, yes. Yep. Yep. Freya's hat really bothers me. I hate it. Anybody else hate it? Never been a fan. So yeah, you can use these crystals to like platform around, and then like when they break, you can pick up the pieces, and then you can like chuck them, or like, you know, and then stand on them, and you know, there's all sorts of interesting shit. This is just such a cool game. Oh my god. Oh my god, I love this game. And you get a bunch of different characters, and like, other than the mages, like none of the characters are really clones of each other. And the mages have, you know, access to like so many different spells. That treasure chest, by the way, like if you knock a treasure chest out of the enemy, it just means you get an item drop. That's pretty much what it means. Here you see experience. So like magic gems, those are the crystals that I was talking about. Okay, so we got Fire Lance. That's cool. So we'll go ahead and we'll teach that to... Actually, can we transmute it? Oh, it just transmutes into Firestorm. She already has that. So yeah, when you get spells, you can go over here and you use them, and then it teaches somebody the spell. They're not uncommon. You can find a lot of them, so like don't worry about like, you know, whatever. But you know, so every caster can learn what is this, 10 different spells. And then as far as like the spells, so there's the elements in the game. There's fire, lightning, darkness, ice, poison, and holy. And so that's 6. And there's 2 spells for each element. And then there's 2 attack spells for each element. And then the other spells are like a varying degree of buffs, debuffs, healing, reviving, status stuff, all that shit. And each mage can learn 10 of those, and there's way more than 10, obviously. Even just there's 12 attack spells, and then there's probably close to an equal amount of support spells. So even though mages are more or less clones of each other in theory, when you customize them based on their spell loadout, you'll find that it's like very different. You know, you can make 2 mages play very differently based on what spells you give them. And then like their base stats will be slightly different, but not like by a crazy amount. Okay, so here's one of those puzzles I was telling you about. Alright, so here... Yeah, so if I had not run behind that chest, I would have gotten blown off the platform and had to climb back up again. And then here is the really shitty part. So I have to go... That's actually not going to work. There we go. Alright, so just gotta come over here, and you basically just gotta nudge yourself right up to the edge. Do this, and then if you pop a crystal by shooting ice again, and you're standing right next to it, it'll send you flying back. So now I landed on that little ledge that I put right there, and just miraculously managed to be okay. And this one is... wait. Okay, so this one's kind of dangerous, but basically you pick up the chest, put it down, and then when you open, because there's no way to get out of the blast radius when you open it, there's a trap in this one. Yeah, so you put it over there so that it doesn't hit you, because if it was still facing this way, it would have blown me off the platform and I'd climb back up here all over again. Yada yada yada. It feels so weird talking about this like it's a walkthrough. I gotta stop. Whoa. Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, don't worry, not all enemies look like that weird little awkward jelly thing. But yeah, see right there, that bluer crystals, that's a magic gem or whatever. So that was a block, so that can happen. Yeah. There's no reason to use PWSs if the enemy's already dead.
They were no match for us.
It doesn't get you anything. PWS attacks are not going to knock extra magic crystals out of the enemy or anything like that. So, and then I'm actually going to change. Yeah, over here and edit Jolanda's. No wait, not that. I want to use Fire Lance. I want to use Fire Lance. So, like, each element has 2 spells, like I said before, but like one spell will be a multi-target attack and the other one is a single target attack. But if you cast them directly from the character's button in such a way that you can combo with other people, they'll always be single target. But if you cast, like, and Firestorm is multi-target, but if you cast Firestorm from the menu, which I think I did earlier and you guys saw me. Yeah, you can come over here, do Firestorm. Yeah, and you can see it's all units. Yeah, but Fire Lance is single target, which is fine because it's generally more powerful on a single target. You know, standard single target versus AoE balance kind of thing. Some of the single target attacks are just obscenely powerful, like when you're using them when you're trying to burn down a boss or whatever. But yeah. Oh yeah, so you can slide and crouch. I'm sorry, like I know I'm like rambling so much about like, ah man, it feels so weird. I'm used to just gabbing and just talking about random shit. Yeah, so there's Fire Lance. And but like there's so much to talk about with this game, oh my god. Ah, Jesus. Oh yes, there's a fast forward function too. Weirdly, that does not make the game glitch out, but sometimes graphical things do. I'll try and keep my finger on that trigger so that if it does, you know, if it does ever freeze, or so when it hangs, I can go ahead and just try and get it knocked back out. Die and be silent. Some of the characters say just fantastic things. Some of the characters have really annoying voices. And others are just, you know, like whatever. Yeah, I don't think there's any getting around those occasional
That was too
hiccups
easy.
during the
What's
battle
next?
animations. I'm really sorry, but I mean, this is like if you've played this game before, you understand. It's a blessing just to be able to play this game at all. Not saying that that I would tolerate anything. To me, they're very minor, and so I know like some frame rate Nazis might like get, you know, all fucking triggered by it, but you know, or graphics Nazis or whatever the fuck. But yeah, obviously, if one of these games is one of my favorite games of all time, I don't really care that much.
Are an offense to me.
Yeah. The awkward thing about Freya is that she like does all those teleports and charge ups before all of her attacks, so it's hard to line them up so you can combo with them at the same time, and I'm not really trying that hard. But so like I would wait, and then yeah, everybody dogpile. Those are my favorite things about this game, is the fact that every character in your party can just dogpile the living shit, and just you wait until we get some of the like crazier weapons and characters. It can get insane. And to be honest, really fun to watch. Did I just go the wrong way? I think I did. I have this game on my PSP, and the PSP version, those of you who have a PSP, it does not have the, you know, kind of, how do you say, it does not have the temperamental disc issue, so it's not afflicted by that, so it's not a thing you have to worry about, which is cool. Only thing that sucks is that the PSP version is actually a port of the Japanese version, which is a different version. They had like some FMV cutscenes instead of like fully animated like anime cutscenes, and there was some censorship that was that made it into that version. Like there's some characters that smoke later in the game, and censored that out, and also like a few naughty words that get said that got censored out because fucking our country and how repressed we are. My God. Man, like, so, you know, hate to date the episode, but the government's been shut down for over 3 weeks now, and like,
Well, they were rather
man.
annoying.
And you know, a month ago, the whole yellow vest thing started in France. They're fucking busting out guillotines. You see, you watch my Darksiders playthrough or my Super Metroid playthrough, and you hear me and Ginsu talk about fucking off with the heads of the rich, and like, and then France up, and they do it, and then everybody that told us that we were, you know, batshit insane for talking about guillotines with any degree of seriousness is like, yeah, go France. It's like, just like, wait, so, okay, now you're behind this? And like suddenly now it's a meme. Like I see people posting pictures of guillotines everywhere on social media, and it's like, you know, there's people that are like serious about that, right?
I love a good
You know.
fight.
I would totally, I mean, those people, I mean, yeah, they're just human beings, but, you know, it's not my fault that they, you know, put themselves on just a higher plane of existence to where they can't empathize with me, I can't empathize with them. And yeah, and now Trump's got the government shut down while he pitches a fucking fit for his fucking wall that we don't need. Oh, like, illegal immigration arrests are like at an all-time low, and most Americans don't even give a shit. Certainly not enough to forego pay for like the, what, like 800,000 government employees that are, you know, about to default on like every single thing that they owe anything. Oh man, it's crazy. And he's talking about like, oh, he's gonna do it for as long as it takes, like months, years, and I'm like, yeah, no, this is gonna be the thing.
To my side, my noble Einherjar.
No quarter.
This is gonna be a thing. So that's why I'm busting out these Let's Plays, getting back on the horse and doing this quickly so I can get as many Let's Plays done as I can before the next fucking revolution happens. Or just the full-blown apocalypse, if, you know, just, man.
I love a good fight.
Can't believe that, man. And the thing is that, like, a lot of people that would normally be mad about him are actually, like, relishing in the fact that he's here because he's making people angry and making people wake up. But at the same time, it's like, man, yeah, okay, but, yeah, no, okay, like, we're woken up, like, he can stop now, you know? We don't need to keep cheering on these horrible things happening for the sake of people getting mad and doing something about it. I don't know.
No quarter.
Anyway, I'll knock off the politics. Ginsu's not here, so it's not nearly as amusing. Yeah. Man. Actually, I was having a really rough time of it for the past, like, because it's January now. I'll just go ahead and date the episode, you know, whatever. Like, I finished Darksiders, and, you know, it was Final Fantasy 12, I think, before that, and, you know, and I started streaming with Ginsu, and then Ginsu got a job, so I couldn't stream with him, at least not, you know, long distance anymore. And, you know, his job doesn't have my, you know, flexible hours, so, so that, I was hoping it was going to be a regular thing, because we have really good back and forth, but, it's not. But I hope you guys do enjoy the episodes that we did do. Sorry if any of you are, you know, took offense to anything said, or if you found any factual inaccuracies, or whatever. You know, I think he actually acknowledged in a recent episode that we did that he had some facts wrong on something or other. I can't remember what it was, but it didn't matter because he's a hoot and I love him. Love you, Ginsu. Love you, miss you. I don't think you're normie trash. I really don't. And I don't hate your music. I just don't really have an opinion. I mean, I miss my friends. God damn it. Valkyrie, jump! Thank you. As you can see, that was a whole lot of, like, fuss just to get to the top of this room to get to all this fucking treasure. And there we go. I didn't double tap, so I didn't run, so Valkyrie just casually walked away. Yeah. And then after that, like, I don't know, like, I lost motivation to do Let's Plays for a while. It really sucked. I was really depressed. I don't know. A lot of shit's happened. And then I built my PC, and then I started streaming a whole bunch of audio surf and beat hazard, because I was like, yes, music, video games, stuff to stream. Probably gonna start streaming a little bit of Monster Hunter soon. Might get back into Final Fantasy 14. I know I always say that, but you know, it's hard to say, really. And then what else? Metroid Prime 2 is coming up. I'm gonna be doing that. I have Donkey Kong Country 3 and Super Mario. Super Mario World should be uploaded before anybody sees this. Yeah, I'll be streaming a lot on Twitch, streaming a lot more on Twitch, trying to make affiliate because it's way easier to do now. And so by all means, like, you know, if you're watching this, you know, and you see, you know, you can add me on Twitch, even just as a friend, you know, and follow the channel. I know, like, subscriptions and followers work different on Twitch than they do on YouTube. And, damn it. I'm really sorry about that. there's really, I don't know anything I can do about it. This is the only emulator that will play this game to where it looks and sounds good. And every other emulator I tried, like either like full motion cutscenes were getting absolutely butchered, or you know, there would be similar, and then on top of that there would be similar like little glitch outs to that, only they would be like worse, and they would affect the sound too. Or you know, or the sound itself would be really crappy. You know, just so. Anyway, I know I've apologized for that. Like, shit. God, I turned around too soon. Owie. Yeah, so there's field hazards like that. They're not super common, but when you run into them, they're usually not like super dangerous. It's like, I think they just drain your HP, but they can't actually like kill you or anything. It just make sure you heal before you go into the next battle, or you'll be really upset. God damn it. It's on a tick, so if you keep jumping like that, sometimes you'll be in the air during the tick, and it won't like do damage to you. I don't know, it's weird. It's weird. Yeah, if you're subscribed to me on here, I know I've built up oh my god, Jesus. There's like 60 of you now, so I know like, you know, about a dozen of those are personal friends at least. But if I have no clue who you are, or you're someone who knows me through my music that's subscribed to me on here, definitely come keep an eye out for my Twitch channel, because I'm trying to get it going. It's really just a matter of getting the stream set up properly and getting the configurations all set and in place, and you know, so I have like, okay, I use this setup for streaming Reason Live, I use this setup for Steam, I use this setup for standalone games, you know, and so on and so forth, and getting them to where they all work, where they're all just like, I can pick one and I'm fired up and I'm ready to go, and, you know, but damn it, I was really hoping he would go. Ow, Jesus, that blows. Wow, I don't think I've leveled up yet. Yeah, hard mode really does put a shit stain on your experience. Yeah, it's not gonna get any better. Pretty much your only saving grace is like you know, the fact that you don't have to use every character. You know, get them good enough to send up to Asgard, and then you can send them up there and not worry about them anymore. Yeah, that was a good combo.
That was too easy. What's next?
Yeah, like any game that I really want to like show off and you know, kind of sing the praises of, or that I want to, you know, any game that I want to like play in such a way as where it's like, hey, like, this game's awesome, everybody check out this game, and then just gushing about it and talking. Those will probably stay here on YouTube, but anything else I can think of, especially anything music related and anything Steam related, will probably be on Twitch. Yeah, look at that. Okay, so we haven't talked about Arngrim's sword yet, but look at that fucking thing. Look how big the handle is. It's like he's holding a tree. I remember
As expected, we are the victors.
I had a there's a friend I had in middle school, and I was only friends with him for like a year. I think he was also a year younger than me. And I think one time I went over to his house and I was like, hey, check out this game. And I brought this game over. And when Valkyrie did her Purify Weird Soul thing, it's called Nibelung Valesti. And he just kept sitting there giggling and being like, Nibelung Valesti, Nibelung Valesti. And I'm like, Oh my god, dude. We can't hang out anymore. Like, I was like, wow. I am not... like, I don't know. I don't know if he even had any video games at his house. I think I was just totally barking up the wrong tree there. As far as, you know, I didn't have any friends at the time. That's like one childhood memory of this game that like has stuck with me, is him giggling his ass off and just continuing to say that, and like just, I don't know. It was weird because like video games, like even when we were little kids, we like took them kind of seriously. Like we didn't just sit there and giggle our asses off at them. I mean, we played them and we learned how to play them and we would get good at them. And it's like, it's interesting to see how that translates into adulthood a little bit. Alright, I'm gonna check my map, see if I've gone everywhere. As we are approaching the end of the episode. And... the maps in this game are a little bit hard to read, but I mean, the whole 2D thing kind of necessitates a map like this, so I mean, I get it. We're mostly set. Oh man. The climbing mechanics in this game aren't great. The ladders are great, they feel really smooth, like it's easy to climb up them, but like jumping from being on a ladder is always kind of like... So you have to be holding hard left as you jump, or you know, hard right. But like, yeah. Sometimes it just makes you jump straight up and then you fall down and it's like, oh wow, well that was a waste of time. Thanks for nothing, bitch. Okay. So we're almost there, guys. This dungeon took longer than it needed to because I was explaining a lot of shit, but... actually gonna go down and... I don't think I came in here, did I? No, I didn't. I almost forgot about this room. That would have been bad. That would not have been a perfect playthrough. The other thing is we're playing hard mode, and hard mode has like some extra dungeons, and then some of the easier dungeons from normal and easy are replaced with totally different dungeons, and those dungeons have like actual, like, legit puzzles in them. None that I don't think I'll be able to pick up after, like, a little bit of review. You know, I don't think I'll be, like, sitting there. It won't be like Darksiders, where, like, I'll just be like, what do I do? I won't be distracted by talking about how evil libertarians are with Kinsu. Or how, you know, about, you know, the Second Amendment, or the difference between millennials and people that can identify a floppy disk, but yeah. That, I think, there's some items that like just give you shit. This is the map. It just like lets you see everything before you've been there, and I never use these. I always convert them to MP because they're a free 1000 MP, and like you really don't need a map that hard. These make elixirs. That's combo potions are good. Yeah, all this stuff is good. Union plumes are basically Phoenix Downs. I know, right? I'm not going to need that for a while. Yeah, and there will be a whole bunch of things that we have to do. There's a whole bunch of events and things that you have to do and trigger in the story in a certain order in order to get the best ending, and we're going to do all those too. In addition to doing all of hard mode and doing the secrets and all that good stuff. Yeah, I'm going to hop up here into this next room right here, and then I'm going to finally let you guys go, and I'll see you guys next time, and we will fight the boss. Take care, guys, and yeah. Play this game if you haven't already. It's an amazing game. Tell your friends about it. It's awesome. And bye.